Every now and then I do updates on, particularly on current events. This update is on the Royal Navy and how the Royal Navy is a prophetic sign. So last year I did a series of videos on the ships of Tarshish and how historically ships have been prophetically significant in the history of Great Britain. The final ship in the series was HMS Hood, whose sinking in 1941 marked the end of the era of dominance by the Royal Navy. After the war, the Royal Navy faced 70 years of decline, that is from 1945 onwards, and this reflected the spiritual decline of the nation. This decline was only reversed with the introduction of two new aircraft carriers, HMS Queen Elizabeth and HMS Prince of Wales. Fitting out of the first of these was completed in 2015, exactly 70 years after the end of the war, the Second World War. This 70-year period of decline is in line with Scripture. Isaiah chapter 23 verses 14 to 15. Howl, ye ships of Tarshish, for your strength is laid waste. And it shall come to pass in that day that Tyre shall be forgotten 70 years, according to the days of one king. After the end of 70 years shall Tyre sing as an harlot. The following chart shows how dramatically the Royal Navy shrank in the 70 years from 1945 to 2015. So you can see that at the end of the war, the total number of surface crafts and submarines was 2,340, and by 2015 there was only 70 ships and subs in the Navy, but since then it has started increasing again. Prophetically in the Bible, Tyre became Tarshish, which is Britain. You can see more about this on the website page Great Britain is Tarshish. Tyre is portrayed as a harlot, and we see in Isaiah 23:17 that after 70 years she returns to her old trade. However, like the harlot who met Jesus in the New Testament, she will return to the Lord, and her wares shall be given to the King of Kings. Isaiah chapter 23 verse 18. And her merchandise and her hire shall be holiness to the Lord. It shall not be treasured nor laid up, for her merchandise shall be for them that dwell before the Lord, to eat sufficiently and for durable clothing. I said in the HMS Hood video last year that we could expect to see Great Britain returning to her old money-loving ways and a revival in her navy. However, eventually the nation and all its wealth will be submitted to God. So in a nutshell, you'll see an expansion of economic activity in Great Britain and an expansion of her navy. That's in the short term. Long term, everything will return to God. It's interesting to me that Britain is now fully committed to a massive expansion of her navy. The Ministry of Defence press release from May 2024 says, with up to 28 warships and submarines in the pipeline, backed by defence spending rising to 2.5% of GDP, Britain is seeing a new golden age of shipbuilding. This expansion will continue despite the fact that we now have a Labour government, which would not normally be expected to increase the size of the Navy. There will also be a parallel increase in shipbuilding in the young lion nations of USA, Canada, Australia and New Zealand. There is a lot of news online about this expansion. I've included some snippets to make the point. This is just another example of how, prophetically speaking, God is in control. His purposes will come to pass. This is why we should not be worried or anxious about the future. We should simply pray about it. Thank you for listening. You can find more information at prophecy-workshop.com.